Coming to other not so important infections, but still you can encounter in practice. One is going to be the aquatic infection. So what will be the key point here? So the key point here is going to be the fact that patient is going to have some water exposure. Some aquatic exposure will be there. Some water exposure is going to be there. So it could be due to Aeromonas, and the key point there is going to be freshwater exposure. So in that case, if you think in terms of, you can think in terms of Aeromonas, or it could be Vibrio infection, especially after a salt water exposure like seawater, or if the patient has visited an aquarium recently or working in an aquarium, you have to think in terms of Mycobacterium marinum as well, which is going to produce the classic fish tank granuloma. We all know that. So most of the species, apart from Mycobacterium marinum, is going to produce local bull-led necrotic infections of the skin. Both Aeromonas and Vibrio produces necrotizing infections, where there's going to be bull and local necrosis. But Mycobacterium marinum alone is going to produce chronic nodular lesions in the skin. So that's why we call it as fish tank granuloma, because these are nothing but granulomas caused by Mycobacterium marinum. Because it's a mycobacterial species, you can expect granuloma formation. The most important risk factor is going to be liver disease, like for example, cirrhosis, maybe portal hypertension, and immunocompromised individuals. But liver disease is the usual risk factor, especially for Vibrio infections. Diagnosis is going to be based on the wound culture, and you have to do biopsy, and you have to pick up that acid-fast bacillus, and you have to culture it to find out Mycobacterium marinum. So if you're thinking in terms of Aeromonas after freshwater exposure, just a third generation cephalosporin or fluoroquinolone like Cipro or levofloxacin is going to be more than enough. In case if you're thinking in terms of Vibrio, like for example, the patient is having a sea exposure, saltwater exposure, so combination of doxycycline and ceftriaxone is what is recommended by most of the guidelines. And in case if you have confirmed it's a Mycobacterium marinum infection by culture, then combination treatment with clarithromycin, ethambutol, and rifampicin is going to be the key point. And remember, treatment for Mycobacterium marinum requires a prolonged course of antibiotics, because after all, it's a mycobacterial species. So minimum 3 to 4 months of antibiotics is what is recommended, but you can extend up to 6 months also. But 3 to 4 months is what is recommended by most of the guidelines. So I can write 3 to 4 months for most Mycobacterium marinum species. And again, you have to tailor the antibiotics based on the culture data. But you need to give combination therapy for sure. Coming to bite infections. So what are bite infections? We're talking about human or animal bites here. So human bites or animal bites. I would say Pasteurella is very, very important. That too, in cat bites, I would say that Pasteurella multocida, very, very common. So we have to give antibiotics for sure. Or it could be something called Capnocytophaga, or it could be Eikenella, or it could be especially if the patient is having exposure to macaque monkeys. So monkey bites. In monkey bites, there is a risk of exposure to herpes virus also. So that's why in macaque monkey bites or any monkey bites, you have to give acyclovir as prophylaxis. So only for macaque monkeys, because there is a risk of herpes transmission, the B virus or herpes B virus transmission. So key features, localized like pus formation or tenosynovitis may be there, but it's going to be a long shot. It's going to occur after some time. Most of the patients are going to present early, unless until it's a homeless guy who's going to present late with pus and tenosynovitis. They're going to present more early. And you can see the bite marks clearly. That's very important for medical legal issues as well. And who are at risk of developing serious infection after bites, it's going to be people who don't have immunity, like no spleen, either structural or functional asplenia like sickle cell disease, or patients with liver disease are at more risk of developing serious infections. But again, prophylaxis is going to be the key here. So most cases will require 3 to 5 days of prophylaxis. If it's going to be just a cat bite or animal bite, apart from monkey bites, you're going to just use amoxicillin clavulanic acid, oral, or ampicillin sulbactam in case if it's a severe infection or patients who are admitted as inpatient. So remember, if it's a monkey bite, I told you there is a risk of herpes virus transmission or otherwise called as B virus transmission. So in that case, you have to add acyclovir or valacyclovir also. So my standard drug our go-to drug in OP practice is going to be Augmentin or amoxicillin clavulanic acid. It has a decent amount of anaerobic cover as well. It's a very good antibiotic, especially for bite infection. So, and the Pasteurella especially will be covered by amoxicillin clavulanic acid, no problem at all. And in case if it's going to be a herpes infection, if you're thinking in terms of monkey bites, then please add acyclovir or valacyclovir as well. This is such a very important point in exams, because monkey bites always carry risk of viral transmission.